My name is Derieth Sutton, and I'm the Director of Economic Development and Government Relations for Niagara Bottling, LLC. So my job is, I actually have a team now, but my job is to facilitate economic expansions, whether those are for our existing plants or for new plant locations. So I have an opportunity to be engaged in site selection and to cover expansion from everything from the real estate portion to incentives to making sure that we have a great workforce to finally the epitome of it is making sure that we have great relationships and that we're in great communities that we can call home for the long term. So, we would look at a number of factors. Every company has a whole list of key qualifiers. We don't have nearly as many as some companies. We focus in probably on about 8 to 12. The typical ones that you would look at concerning, cost of land, because we do a lot of build-to-suits. So cost of land, taxes, we would also look at cost, because we're a beverage company, we would look at cost for infrastructure, for power, for water, for sewer, those types of things. We do look at labor a little bit, but that's a little subjective because we do believe that you pay for your talent and you reward your talent or skilled talent. So that we've taken into consideration as well. But then we also have another component that we refer to as community fit. And for us, community fit is not necessarily quality of life, but rather it is about how a community aligns with us as a company. Do they share the same core values as we share? Are they a place that's preparing for its future, not just living for today? And are they in it for the long haul? Because we are in it for the long haul in terms of communities. We don't lease property anywhere. We buy and own everywhere we're located. So for us, a place that has that good community fit, great synergy amongst their local, their county, their state leaderships and so forth, is a place that we would say would have good community fit and be in alignment with us. Yeah, we do, and because my other hat, of course, is the government relations arm. One thing that's really important, and as a professional in the economic development world, is I always want for people to remember that it's not about just getting a company in. You have to be able to have that relationship for the long haul. And so as a company, we are interested in knowing our leadership. We're interested in knowing the economic developers there. We're interested in knowing the community developers there. And some of the things that they say to us is, we just didn't really have any idea. I always tell people we're not existing in communities like other companies, but to quote our chairman, he always says, we'll do the things that we said we would do plus a little bit more. So to be in a community where they see you, you're visible, they know that you're there, they have you in the front of mind, that they are fascinated and interested and pleased with your ability to be able to create the jobs that you said you were going to create and to grow. And even in a lot of communities to utilize the infrastructure that's there, because that's important for communities in a lot of places. Making the investment, that tax investment that is there, that's important to a lot of places. So that gets back to that whole community fit thing and being able to find a location where you're aligned so that your goals and what you want, parallel each other. And I think you both can be successful that way. Well, one thing that I at least share in the classes that I teach for IEDC is for young professionals, I always say, first of all, get involved. Get involved in IEDC, and I know that it can be expensive. I know that it is a commitment of time, but try your best to get involved. There are so many opportunities here, not just for networking, but for mentoring. And that is something that I think is really important to young professionals coming into the industry, is whether they know it or not, they have an opportunity to be around so many mentors in this organization. And that is a tremendous value, because I don't think they quite know or realize all of the circumstances that they may find themselves in as they continue to grow in this profession. And being able to have a group here that has the opportunity to network and to mentor is tremendous. And then the third piece that I would say is once you get here in this organization, this isn't a place just for you to come and sit down. This is an opportunity where you pay it forward. And from your successes, your relationships, all of those things that you forge when you're here, you have an opportunity and a responsibility to be able to pay that forward for the new generation that's coming behind you. So those would be my three things that I would say to young professionals coming into the industry.
Were you fortunate enough to have a mentor or a role model, someone that helped you out?
I really was. Back in the day when we were QED, it just seems so long ago, but back in that day, I was very fortunate. I came into this organization and there was a gentleman who just sort of latched on to me and drugged me around and introduced me to individuals that had been in the organization and working and been in the industry and the profession for a long time. And that particular mentor for me was Ed Nelson. And he was out of the Atlanta area, and he still is to this day in a different capacity. But I was very fortunate in that I was in Florida. I didn't know Ed in Georgia, but he saw me and he said, "Hey," and he pulled me in and introduced me to individuals, and I saw how they were engaged. I saw how they were connected. I saw successes from watching what was happening in their communities and so forth, and it was something that I said, "Hey, I want to be a part of that." But this is a profession that you have to have a passion for, and if you don't have a passion for this, I don't think you'll give 100% plus, but if you do, just think of all the benefit that you can have, not just as a professional, but for communities, for individuals. You just think this is the greatest profession out there, I think, because we have the ability to facilitate economic opportunity for people that we may never even meet. And even though I work for one manufacturing company, even for me and my role, there are still times where when I first go, it might be a green field or it's just dirt. There's no building, there's no team there, but to be able to go back, in a few months when the building is up, when the team is in place, when production is underway, when they're out volunteering doing their local community initiatives and have the opportunity to meet individuals and to know that we play just a small role in their coming on board and being a part of our family, our company's family. And that's just a tremendous feeling. Just like a lot of other industries, you have to be in it for the long haul. That's first out there. And oftentimes when I was in another capacity on the other side, friends of mine used to tease it and say I went over to the dark side when I went to work for the private industry. But when I worked on the public sector side and even on the private public sector side, you're sometimes dealing with multiple clients, and sometimes that's a great thing because you're so committed and you're so focused. You're going here, you're going there, you're going here, you're going there. And it might take some time before one project actually comes to fruition. But there's always something else going on, and so that gives you an opportunity to commit there. I think you have to realize that we do the best that we can to help facilitate that opportunity, to help connect those dots. I'm sure you've heard those kinds of statements. We do the best that we can to do that and to be that connector, that facilitator, recognizing that companies still have to make the best business decisions for them. So I think we have to keep things in perspective and know that we give it 100% every time, but we want to make sure that we've given that company everything that it needs so that it makes the right decision for it. And I think that will help current practitioners, new practitioners coming on board to stay focused and committed and not get discouraged. When I first came on board to, as a part of QED and then later becoming IEDC, it was not common to walk into a room and to see many people that look like me. It just wasn't. Matter of fact, it wasn't very common to walk into the room and see very many women. It just wasn't. That wasn't what our industry was. But over the years, it's been phenomenal to see the presence, of women in key roles throughout this organization, and to see young people, to see minorities, just to see a diverse group of individuals interested in this line of work. And we're in various capacities, whether that's cities, counties, states, some banking industries, some developers, even some utility companies. But it's nice to see the diversity that's there. But we know that that could not have happened but for the groundwork that our leadership before us put in place. And so it really gets back to what I mentioned about paying it forward. I think that's really important. We can't just rest on our laurels about what we've done over the past few years that we've been a part of this organization. We have to be thinking forward. We have to continue to position this organization to be that premier organization. We have to continue to position us to be that go-to organization, that if anyone wants to know anything about economic development, we should be in their front of mind. And we have to continue to position ourselves to even non-members so that they know and come to understand the value of this organization. So paying it forward is really, really important, and I'm just pleased to see where we are, and I can't wait to see where we are another 5 years from now too. So.